Hi, I'm Mark Polk with RV Education 101. We're starting an exciting project today. When we want to go camping with all the comforts of home, we take our 35-foot Type A motorhome. Now, with the popularity of van camping, we decided to renovate an old van into a modern-day off-road weekend getaway camper van. When I was young, these vans were extremely popular. They were called street vans in the 70s and 80s, and they were customized with shag carpeting, captain seats, loud stereos, a bed, and a custom paint job.
Mark told me when he was a teenager, him and a friend would drive about 30 miles to a Dodge dealership to look at all the vans and dream about owning one. I guess after 40-some years, the dream is coming true.
Today, people look for the taller vans like a Sprinter or a Ford Transit or a Ram ProMaster to convert for camping, but a used one with more than 200,000 miles will cost you $20,000 to $25,000 or more. For our project, I located and bought what I think is the perfect van for the renovation project. It's a 1978 Dodge B200 van. The B200 designation means it's a 3/4 ton as opposed to a half ton. It has a 360 V8 engine and a 727 automatic transmission. What sets this van apart from most vans is its four-wheel drive. In 1978 and 79, Dodge sent roughly 700 new vans to the Motorhome division of Champion Homes to convert them to four-wheel drive. They were called Wranglers. This is one of a very few remaining in existence today.
I told Mark if we were going to do this project, the van has to have a bed, a place to cook, some way to use the bathroom, running water, an outside shower, heat, and AC. He said he can make that happen, so we'll see.
The seller was asking $7,000 for the van. After I pointed out some problems with the van and after some negotiation, I bought it for $4,500. It didn't run at the time, so I took a trailer, loaded the van up, and brought it back to my shop. Our plan is to take this old 1978 van and renovate it into our vision of a modern-day off-road camper van. The first step was to make sure the van is mechanically safe and sound. Then we will renovate the interior by adding wall, ceiling, and floor coverings. We will build a bed, add counter and storage space, upgrade the seating, add hot and cold running water, 12-volt and 120-volt electricity, and solar power. On the exterior, I will repair the rust, add an old-school windshield visor, fabricate a rear storage tray to hold a generator, fabricate a front bumper with a winch, add new wheels and tires, do the body work, and finish everything off with a new paint job.
We always name our projects, like the trailer we restored is the Old Yellowstone, the Dodge Power Wagon that Mark did is Project Semi-Hemi, and a project that Tyler and Mark completed together is HD Comanche. So, we are officially dubbing this the Ram Camp Project. Settle in and enjoy our van camper renovation series.
When I got the van back to my shop, I did an inventory to see what I was up against mechanically. The van did not run, wiring was disconnected and hanging under the dashboard. The steering column and ignition switch in the van did not work, but there was another U steering column inside the van. The switches on the dashboard were broken and missing, and after connecting a battery, nothing on the dashboard was operating properly. Under the hood, I immediately had concerns about the radiator, the coolant hoses, the electronic control unit or ECU, the voltage regulator, and other components. The van needed a thorough inspection to identify all the mechanical issues that needed attention, but for now, my concern was to get the van running and find out if there are any other major problems. I painted the U steering column, installed a new ignition switch in it, and installed the steering column on the van so I could try to start it. Then I checked the gas tank for old gas and for any rust or other issues. Fortunately, someone drained the gas tank while it was in storage, and it looked to be in decent condition. Then I replaced the spark plugs, the distributor cap and rotor, and the plug wires. The oil in the engine looked clean, and it was at the full mark on the dipstick. I added some antifreeze to the radiator, and I put 5 gallons of fresh gas in the gas tank, and then I attempted to start the van. It didn't start using the key, so I jumped in at the starter to turn the engine over. When the engine still did not start, I inspected the ignition system and discovered the worst looking electronic control unit I've ever seen. I replaced the ECU and tried starting the engine again. The engine started, but I noticed blue smoke coming out of the exhaust. I let the engine run a while to see if it would clear up, but I continued to see bluish gray smoke coming from the tailpipe. Blue smoke coming from the exhaust can be caused by bad valve stem seals. It can be a fuel-related problem or by oil getting past the oil rings on the pistons. At this point, the best case scenario and least expensive option is for me to remove and repair the heads, and I hope that fixes the issue. So, the decision was made to remove the heads from the engine. On a van, you have access to the engine from the interior. I removed the exhaust manifolds, the distributor, the intake manifold, and then the heads, and I dropped them off at the machine shop to be repaired. If this isn't the problem, I have a rebuilt engine I never used that will work in the van, but I really don't want to replace the engine if I don't have to. While I waited to get the heads back, I started checking the rest of the mechanicals. I found paperwork in the van that showed the 727 transmission was rebuilt and has very low mileage on it, so that's great news. There were also some old rear brake shoes in a box, so I'm hoping the rear brakes were replaced. The front brakes, on the other hand, had bad rotors and needed new brake pads and calipers. When the new parts arrived, I removed the old bearings from the hubs, repacked the wheel bearings, installed them back on the hub with new front rotors, calipers, brake pads, and brake lines. For 3 or 4 years in the 70s, Dodge used a full-time four-wheel drive system that was a poor design and a mechanic's nightmare. This van happens to be one of those years. I think the reason the previous owner never replaced the brake rotors is because he knew how hard the job was. I can tell you one thing, I will never do that job again. By the time that job was done, I got the rebuilt heads back from the machine shop. Since the top end of the engine was apart, I decided to install new lifters. Next, I installed new head gaskets and the rebuilt heads. Then the intake manifold, followed by the exhaust manifolds. I connected all the wiring and reinstalled the distributor and the plug wires. Whenever you take an engine apart, it's smart to label everything you disconnect or remove from the engine, especially the wiring. When you put it back together, you know exactly where everything goes. Since the front of the van was disassembled to replace the radiator, it only made sense to replace the water pump and coolant hoses too. I cleaned and painted the engine parts and accessories, and then installed a new radiator and topped it off with antifreeze. I ordered a carburetor rebuild kit to rebuild the old 2-barrel carburetor. When I was looking for the parts, I ran across an NOS carburetor for the van at a good price. NOS stands for New Old Stock. It means it's a new part from 1978 that was never sold to a customer, so it's old stock but brand new. But the NOS carburetor is 44 years old now, and I knew I would need to go through the carburetor and at the very least replace the gaskets, so it was cheaper and made more sense to just rebuild the old carburetor. I added some gas to the carburetor, and it was time to start the engine and see if our time and money was well spent or if things are looking worse. That's a huge relief. No more blue smoke from the exhaust. To finish the mechanical work and ensure the van was safe to drive, I inspected the suspension system, double-checked to make sure the rear brakes were good. I replaced the engine oil and filter, replaced the belts, the air filter, and checked the fluid levels in the power steering pump, transmission, front and rear differentials, and the transfer case. Then I bled the brakes, replaced a bad voltage regulator, and I repaired all the bad wiring. Whenever you see duct tape on the wiring, you should be concerned. I'm sending the van out to have the new exhaust done. So with the engine running and sounding good and all the mechanical systems in the van inspected and repaired, all that's left is to take it on a test drive.
There is one thing left to do before we can start on the van's interior. We need to paint the dashboard and all the door jambs the new exterior color so that everything matches inside and out.
Well, that does it for now. Stay tuned for the next episode when we decide how the van's interior will be laid out and we rough in the 12 volt and 120 volt wiring and the plumbing in the van's interior. Until then, happy camping.